Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books, and today I'm here to share a very special tag. And this is Courtney Farrader's original tag. It is the self-aware reader tag, and I was tagged by Alba. Her channel name is Seriela. I will link both their videos down below, and I've seen a few people do this tag, and I think it's just so much fun. So I am going to be reading the questions off my phone, and let's get started. So question number one is, what most draws you into a novel or story and makes you want to keep reading? Plot, characters, writing style, atmosphere, something else. For me, it's definitely plot. I am more of a plot driven reader, though lately I have been sucked in by good writing and good atmosphere. So I can dabble in other characteristics, but primarily it is plot. That might change though. I feel like at some point that could change, but for now it is plot. Question number two is, what is the convention or trope that will immediately turn you off in your reading experience with a novel or story? Secret baby. Which is a romance trope that I really don't like. Miscommunication, something that could be solved really easily with like just talking, I find very annoying. Fortunately, in romances, when you get to those issues, it's usually towards the end of the novel, so you can just kind of move on quickly. Another thing, though, in just books overall, not just romance novels, is lack of consent. Lack of consent will turn me off of a book. All right, where are we at? Question number three. What most appeals to you when reading nonfiction and makes you want to keep reading? Good narrative. This is where writing really does matter for in nonfiction. You need to tell a story. I can read books that don't do that, and I have when I was in graduate school, but these days I really prefer narrative. I think some academics forget that regardless of what you're doing academically, you're still writing a narrative and telling a story, and I think that's especially important in history, which is my field. Question number four is, what is a convention or trope in nonfiction that will turn you off in your reading experience? Theory. So that's not a convention necessarily, but jargon. A lot of jargon. I think a lot of people like to hide behind jargon, and it's a way of gatekeeping that I dislike. I think that if you really know what you're talking about, you don't need to use a lot of jargon. And maybe that's also a product of the people who trained me, who knew their theory, knew their stuff, but could explain it very simply in simple terms. And that's the kind of writing I really like. And the opposite really makes me angry. Question number five is, would you say you read more for pleasure and enjoyment, or more to learn and exercise your brain? So again, I don't think these things are mutually exclusive. When I read, I look for two different things. For a book to engage me intellectually or to engage me emotionally. And ideally, I want a book to do both. Right? I want to be emotionally and intellectually engaged. But also some books set out to do one of those things more specifically, right? To either engage you intellectually or emotionally, and it doesn't mean they don't have the other element, but they primarily focus on one. And as long as they're doing what it set out to do, then that is fine with me. And I look for both. I look for both in books. Sometimes when I pick nonfiction up specifically, I'm looking for intellectual engagement, but good nonfiction will also engage emotions. So there, there you go. Question number six is, which type of books are you likely to rate more highly and enjoy more overall? Brain candy, pleasure / enjoyment books, or brain protein, learning exercise books. I like that, thinking of it as brain candy versus brain protein. I need both. Again, and I like November was a great reading month for me because I was reading some heavy nonfiction and then some just like fantasy romance as well, and that worked so well for me. In terms of what I rate highly, again, I'm starting to move towards not rating books so much. I still rate them on Goodreads, and from time to time in my wrap-ups I'll give you what the star rating for a book was, but I prefer to talk about what worked and what didn't work in a book, and I try to rate books based on what they set out to do, right? I just finished reading Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. What that book sets out to do is very different than what another book I'm reading right now is African Europeans. Very different, right? Very different goals. And so I try to judge a book by what it's trying to do, and in that way be fair to all of them. I don't know. That's just my strategy. Okay. Question number 7 is, do you have a sense early on of whether or not the book you're reading will be a 5-star read? Has a book ever surprised you in this regard? Yes. I think pretty early on, I can tell that, oh my goodness, this is a 5-star read. But there are books that start off really good and drop off. A Discovery of Witches kind of did that for me. The first third of A Discovery of Witches was beautiful, spoke to my soul as a historian. Seeing the main character at the National Library and discovering a rare book, all of that stuff was just candy for me. And then towards the end, I was feeling it was getting too tropey. So that can happen. Then there are books that maybe don't start off a little slow and then really, really pick up. Sometimes that can happen with Silvia Moreno Garcia's books. Gods of Jade and Shadow. It has a chapter in there that's a bit slow, but then after that, it's go, 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 and that was a marvelous book. So yeah, first impressions can matter, but endings also matter, depending also on the genre, right? Like thrillers, for example, really ride or die by their endings, their twist at the end. So if you could be liking everything else, but if that twist at the end doesn't work, then the whole book is ruined. On the other hand, a book can be so, and then that killer twist, and you're hooked. So that can happen. That's what I'm saying. It depends. But right now I can't think of any book that I was not liking early on, or was more iffy and then really ended up being a 5-star book. Books like that tend to end up for me more in the 4.5 rating scale. Okay, where are we at? Okay. Question number 8. Considering books that you've rated 5 stars in the past, or if you don't rate them, then books you really love, do you think you would feel the same way about them now? Why or why not? Okay. I did a video a while ago on my favorite books of all time, and I've actually reread a couple of them since then. And what I've found is that they do hold up. So things like, what was it? Malcolm X's autobiography. That one doesn't completely hold up because I was able to find things to criticize in it when we did the buddy read of it, but it still held up for me. And then Water for Chocolate, that's another book that was in my all-time favorites, and a lot of it was tied to the experience of my first time reading it, and it still held up. The emotional journey in that book I really enjoy. Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion by Jane Austen have always held up for me, but other than my all-time favorite books, I don't tend to reread books a lot, even 5-star books. But I think most of the ones that I'm thinking of the last couple of years, as I've been rating things on Goodreads that I've loved, yeah, I think they would hold up. Yeah, because I've been leaning more towards books that are not books I love, giving them more 4.5 4 stars. So there we go. that's it. That was the last question. Well, the last question is to tag people, and I'm terrible at tagging people. I don't know. I'll just say, please do this tag. It's so much fun, and I love watching everyone do videos on this. So, and let me know down below if you're gonna do it or if you have done it. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.